Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Wednesday, September 24, 2025. And in the news this morning, 1 killed, 13 injured in 2 rural St. Andrew crashes. The St. Andrew Traffic Police are investigating 2 separate road crashes that occurred yesterday afternoon, leaving a woman dead and at least 13 others injured. The first crash occurred around 2:20 p.m. along the Newcastle Main Road in rural St. Andrew. Reports are that a car carrying 6 people veered off the roadway and plunged into a ravine. One woman, identified as Greta McKenzie of Jerry Gully, Irish Town, died at the scene. 4 other occupants, including the 21-year-old driver of the white 2012 Toyota Probox, were rescued and transported to the University Hospital of the West Indies. Their condition remained unknown at the press time. The news understands that the vehicle was traveling from Papine towards Irish Town when it went off the road near the Strawberry Hill Hotel and the popular Bagger Cook Shop area. Residents, the police, Jamaica Defense Force soldiers, and the firefighters responded to the emergency using ropes and heavy equipment to retrieve the trapped passengers from the steep hillside. Less than an hour later, at approximately 3:15 p.m., a second crash occurred along Dublin Castle Main Road in Gordon Town. It involved a Toyota Hiace minibus transporting students from St. Martin de Porres Primary and the Louise Bennett Coverley Primary. Reports are that upon reaching a section of the roadway, the bus developed mechanical problems and became disabled after some unusual sounds were heard. The news understands that the driver emptied the bus of the children, and after several attempts, he managed to restart the vehicle. When it was reloaded and the driver attempted to continue the journey, the engine reportedly shut off and the vehicle ran backwards down the hill, climbed an embankment and overturned. At least 10 children were treated at the UHWI for injuries. The driver also received what appeared to be burn injuries to his hands and the back. One of his arms seemingly was also broken. The government of Jamaica earlier this month launched its rural school bus program along 122 routes island-wide to help to safely transport the children to and from school. This means that for the first time, parents will be able to monitor their children's movement to and from school, providing peace of mind and an extra layer of security, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz said at the rollout. It is not clear whether any of the buses are traversing the route where the accident occurred. The police are probing both crashes. Up to September 22, 284 people died on Jamaica's roadways, a 5% increase year-on-year, according to the latest data published by the Island Traffic Authority. Driver killed, another injured in 2-vehicle Sligoville crash. 2 drivers were injured, 1 fatally, in a 2-vehicle crash along the main road in Sligoville, St. Catherine on Monday. Killed was the 39-year-old Alicia Wasom of a Linstead address. Reports are that about 5:15 p.m., Wasom was driving a 2010 Honda Fit motor car when, upon reaching a section of the roadway, she lost control of the vehicle and collided with a Toyota Corolla motor car. The impact caused both vehicles to be extensively damaged. Both drivers also suffered injuries. They were assisted to hospital where Wasom died. The Sligoville police are investigating the incident. Jamaica so far records 29 days with triple road deaths, analysis reveals. Jamaica recorded 3 road deaths in a single day 29 times this year up to September 6, an analysis of police data has revealed. The figures are for separate fatal crashes and not single events with multiple victims, explained Dr. Parsi Lee Ayi, who conducted the analysis. There were 12 days when the police recorded 4 road deaths in a single day and 5 days when 5 fatalities were reported, according to the analysis done by the National Road Safety Council. There were 107 days this year up to September 6 when the police recorded no road deaths. The number of days when 3 road deaths were recorded increased by 1 when compared with the corresponding period last year, while the number of days with 4 deaths increased by 2. The number of days when 5 road deaths were recorded remained the same as last year. Lee Ayi, a consultant analyst with the NRSC, cautioned that the increasing number of days with multiple road deaths speaks to an increase in intensity that will put pressure on the police, hospitals, and other responders. So the implication is that enforcement will need to be spread out at the same time. You cannot have everything focused in Westmoreland, he told the news, citing the parish with the 4th highest number of road deaths so far this year. Up to Monday, a total of 284 people had died on Jamaica's roadways, a 5% increase year-on-year, according to the latest data published by the Island Traffic Authority. At the end of the first quarter of this year, road fatalities were down 18%. Dr. Lucian Jones, Vice Chairman of the NRSC, said the analysis done by Lee Ayi is a call to action and a call for a new policy prescription. He suggested that the only way to effectively monitor Jamaica's road network is to augment the efforts of the police with the use of static cameras and/or drones. Otherwise, in the absence of any additions to the sanctions regime or any improvement which can effectively change the culture of extreme recklessness and speeding, we are going to experience the nightmare of multiple fatalities which cause so much grief and pain, Jones said. 23 officers but no body cams in Clarendon fatal raid. Deceased not named on warrant, says Indicom. The Independent Commission of Investigations says that none of the 23 officers on a Clarendon raid in which a 22-year-old Jamar Farquharson was killed wore body cameras. It also revealed that Farquharson was not named on the search warrant. Not once this year has anybody worn a body-worn camera during a planned police operation, said Deputy Commissioner Hamish Campbell on Monday in an update on the September 15 operation at a house on Cherry Tree Lane in 4 parts. We do keep repeating the same message because here is perhaps an example where CCTV evidence exists, but body-worn cameras would have supported the police and reinforced what they report to us. Campbell revealed that his team has secured the original closed-circuit television footage from the incident and is conducting an analysis. He declined to disclose what the recordings show, but acknowledged that versions circulating on social media were not time-stamped. I do note that some of that CCTV material I see in circulation on social media, but I am not going to add to that because it isn't necessarily in chronological order. Because it isn't necessary in chronological order, and I notice some of it is not timed, so we have to be careful and properly analyze it before discussing further what it shows and what it appears to show, he said. A video circulating online shows Farquharson opening a door and then putting his hands above his head as police officers enter the house. According to Campbell, the police account is that Farquharson answered the door, allowed the officers inside, and was escorted back into his bedroom after the house was cleared. There, they allege, he reached for a firearm hidden among clothing. 2 officers reportedly fired 2 rounds each, fatally wounding him. He said a .38 revolver was said to have been recovered at the scene. But Campbell also disclosed that the search warrant used by police did not bear Farquharson's name. Instead, it listed another person and gave only Cherry Tree Lane as the address. It's definitely a different name. It's not Jamar Farquharson on the warrant, he said, noting that investigators are probing whether the person named is connected to the premises. The absence of body-worn cameras has long been a sticking point between Indicom and the JCF. Campbell stressed that their consistent use would protect both citizens and officers, especially in controversial cases. Body-worn cameras would support the police and reinforce what they report to us and state what happened, he said. Indicom is preparing a formal report on the matter by the end of September. The police force, however, has repeatedly rejected suggestions that it is resisting the widespread deployment of body-worn cameras, pointing instead to the gradual build-out of infrastructure and training. In November 2024, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang downplayed the technology's usefulness in hostile confrontations. A body-worn camera is of very little value. You don't need to be an expert to understand. You put a camera on your chest, you start shooting at somebody, they start shooting at you, you going to dive for cover, he said. Chang argued that the primary benefit of body-worn cameras was in maintaining public order, such as in the management of street vending. The police force has not publicly commented on the incident, which has drawn public outrage. Jamaica has seen a record decline in murders of more than 40% so far this year, compared with a similar period last year. However, rights groups and Indicom have raised concerns about an increase in fatal shootings by the security forces. Indicom is reporting 225 fatal shootings since January 1, a 73% increase over the similar period last year. An extraordinary increase in the number of fatal shootings this year, with a significant proportion arising out of planned police operations, the Indicom Deputy Commissioner said on Tuesday. Meanwhile, for Farquharson's mother, LaFay Ann Wright, the explanations have provided little comfort. She told the news that her grief deepened after recognizing her son in a video clip of the raid. "The way I grew my child, he was simply following instructions," she said, insisting he was not the kind of young man to confront the police. "Me can guarantee when him open the door, him say, 'Good evening, officers,' cause I saw him stay, I saw him grow." Farquharson, a past student of Denby High and the Vere Technical High Schools, had secured employment with the National Water Commission and was pursuing entrepreneurial ventures, including catering, beekeeping, and welding. His family and the supporters last week staged a protest in Maypen, condemning what they labeled a grave injustice and a cold-blooded murder. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.